Before the world knew his voice, few people knew his story. Before appearing on Britain's Got Talent, Jonathan Antoine lived a largely private life shaped by insecurity and isolation. According to interviews given later in his career, school years were difficult, marked by frequent bullying and a lack of confidence. Music, particularly classical singing, became both an emotional outlet and a coping mechanism. Unlike many aspiring performers, Anton did not enter the competition with an established public profile or industry backing. His participation came from encouragement within his local community and from his singing partner at the time, Charlotte Giaconelli. From a reporting standpoint, this background matters because it contrasts sharply with the public reaction that followed. Viewers often see televised talent competitions as overnight success machines, but Anton's appearance was the result of years of quiet practice rather than sudden discovery. In pre-show footage and early interviews, he appeared visibly nervous, reinforcing how unfamiliar national attention was to him. That lack of polish would later become part of the public narrative surrounding his rise. What remained largely unknown at the time was how dramatically this exposure would alter the direction of his life, both professionally and personally. And once the cameras started rolling, there was no turning back. In less than a minute, assumptions gave way to disbelief. When Jonathan Antoine stepped onto the audition stage, the initial reaction inside the auditorium was cautious. Judges appeared uncertain, and audience expectations were low. From a media analysis perspective, this moment illustrates how visual bias often shapes early judgment in televised competitions. However, once Anton began singing, the tone in the room changed almost immediately. His operatic performance drew a visible response from both judges and spectators, leading to a standing ovation and widespread praise. Broadcast footage shows judges acknowledging that their assumptions had been incorrect, a moment that quickly went viral after the episode aired. News outlets across the UK highlighted the audition as one of the most surprising performances of the season. This performance marked a turning point not just in the competition, but in Anton's public identity. He was no longer an unknown teenager. He became a symbol of underestimated talent. From a reporting angle, the speed at which public opinion shifted is notable. Within hours of the broadcast, clips were circulating globally, and Anton's name began trending across multiple platforms. Yet while the audition introduced him to millions, it also marked the beginning of an intense level of scrutiny that would follow him well beyond the competition itself. Fame arrived quickly, but stability did not. Following his success on the show, Jonathan Antoine experienced a rapid escalation in public attention. Media requests increased, performance opportunities multiplied, and industry expectations rose almost overnight. For a young performer with limited exposure to professional entertainment environments, this sudden transition was significant. Reporters at the time described him as soft-spoken and overwhelmed during early press appearances. From an industry standpoint, Anton's situation reflects a broader pattern seen in talent show alumni. The platform provides visibility, but it also compresses years of career development into a matter of weeks. As coverage expanded, discussions shifted from his voice to his future, what genre he should pursue, how his image should evolve, and whether he could sustain long-term success. While public narratives framed his rise as inspirational, later interviews suggest the pressure was substantial. Anton spoke cautiously about adjusting to expectations that were far larger than anything he had experienced before. The attention, while positive, was constant, leaving little room for private adjustment. As public focus intensified, another conversation began to dominate headlines, one that had little to do with music itself. The headlines changed, and so did the tone. As Jonathan Antoine's appearance began to change, media coverage shifted noticeably. Weight loss became a recurring topic in interviews, articles, and online discussions. While some coverage was supportive, much of it veered into speculation. From a journalistic perspective, this marked a turning point where the narrative moved away from artistic achievement and toward personal scrutiny. Anton later acknowledged that the attention surrounding his physical transformation was difficult to navigate. Commentators debated causes and motivations, often without verified information. This type of coverage highlights the broader issue of how young public figures are frequently subjected to analysis beyond their professional work. Despite attempts to redirect focus back to music, the conversation persisted. Analysts noted that the pressure to meet public expectations, both vocally and visually, added a new layer of stress. The transformation, rather than closing chapters of discussion, opened new ones. Behind the scenes, however, a more serious issue was developing, one that would temporarily pause his career entirely. Then the voice that launched it all was put at risk. In a development that surprised many followers, Jonathan Antoine later revealed that he required vocal surgery. For a professional singer, such a procedure carries significant risk and uncertainty. Public appearances slowed, and performances were postponed, leading to speculation about his future in music. Medical details were kept appropriately limited, but Antoine confirmed that recovery required patience and discipline. Industry observers noted that the timing was particularly challenging, arriving during a critical stage of career momentum. Rather than continuing at full pace, he was forced into a period of reassessment. This pause shifted public attention once again, this time toward questions about longevity rather than breakthrough success. From a reporting angle, it underscored how fragile rapid fame can be when tied to physical performance. What followed was not a dramatic comeback, but a quieter recalibration. The story didn't end, it simply became quieter. In the years following these events, Jonathan Antoine chose a more measured path. He continued performing and recording, but with less emphasis on constant visibility. Interviews from this period suggest a growing focus on sustainability rather than spectacle. The urgency that defined his early rise was replaced by careful planning and personal balance. From a media standpoint, this evolution is often overlooked. Talent show narratives tend to focus on extremes, instant success, or sudden disappearance. Antoine's journey sits in between, reflecting a more realistic adjustment to fame. Today, his career stands as an example of how televised success can open doors while also creating long-term challenges. Britain's Got Talent undeniably changed his life, but not in a single moment. The impact unfolded over years, shaped by public reaction, personal health, and deliberate choices. And that broader perspective may be the most important part of the story.